Hello, everyone, and welcome to my free manifesting masterclass. My name is Hal Weinshank, and I'll be your instructor. This is going to be around 30 minutes long. I'm going to teach you all the tips and the tricks in manifesting, and I'm going to teach you a simple 5-step formula that I was taught many years back from my higher guidance while meditating. And they distilled everything down into 5 easy steps to create everything that you ever want in your life. As long as you follow up with those steps, you will create the things that you want and need in your life. Again, this class will be about 30 minutes long. It will be recorded, so I will post a replay as well. And I'll do some questions and answers at the very end, so it may go as long as 45 minutes or so. I want this class to be about you, but I want to tell you, of course, a little bit about myself so you know who you're talking to here. So I've been a spiritual teacher and a counselor for a little over 25 years. I started learning meditation and spirituality as a teenager, and I've basically been practicing it ever since. My background in education, I have an undergrad in sociology and my master's degree, summa cum laude, in psychology. I've also taught a lot of different classes in dreams, relationships, health and well-being, meditation, trance, synchronicity, self-improvement, to just name a few. I'm in the process of writing my first book as well on manifesting codex. I've also facilitated and ran a lot of different courses as well as a spirituality counseling practice for many years. So I've walked the walk of spirituality, and I've had both ups and downs, and I've learned a lot over the years. I'd like to share these things with you so you can avoid some of the pitfalls. So let's start first with what is a good definition of manifesting so that you know what manifesting is. And manifesting, it starts with the basic principle that you are the creator of your entire life. And it's a very, very difficult concept for many to sort of absorb and take in, but you truly are the creator of your existence. Or if you want to say co-creator, that's fine too, but you create that which you experience. And your life is determined mostly by your perceptions and your mindset. And mindset is more than just thinking or the mind. There's also feelings and sensing that go along with that. There's two things that determine the feelings, sensing, and mindset, and that's the vibration that you put out to the universe. Some will just call that mindset, but on a real level, it's a vibration as well. And the universe responds to your vibration. That which you put out is that which what you will receive. So obviously a good positive vibration, feeling joyful and abundant and happy and passionate, that attracts back those same things. And of course the other side of that is a negative vibration attracts more of blockages and resistance and negativity and fear and doubt. In psychology, they call this an internal locus of control or an external locus of control. The person with an internal locus of control really feels that they have control and design over their own life versus a person who has external locus of control, which means they think life just happens to them. So I'd like to get all my students into a place and a position of being an internal locus of control, meaning you design your life. And it works every time for people when they can get themselves into that vibration and that state of mind. Oh, wait, I'm the creator. I design my life. I'm responsible for my life. That internal locus of control. And when I do this for myself, and I've done it over the years, all my stresses, my worries, my fears, my doubts, they don't completely go away because we're human beings, but I'm much more able to handle and manage those feelings and those thoughts by staying focused in that manner. Whatever my heart wants when I go to manifest now, by following those 5 steps, putting myself into that vibration state and that mindset that I'm responsible for my own life and I create my own life, things come into alignment for me, things flow. And I'd like to share this with you as to why. So the first and most common question I get from clients is, why am I not able to really attract what I desire? Why is it things just don't seem to work out for me? That sort of thing. There's 3 main reasons that I've distilled it down to. The first one has to do with the obvious worries and doubts. And these are normal. It's human traits to be worrisome and to doubt things a bit and things like that until you build your confidence. With practice, you'll build your confidence and those worries and doubts will go down. One main way to overcome worries and doubts, and it's a tricky one, and some people aren't quite sure how to do this, but you need to act as if you already have those things in your life. So let's say you want a dream job, and you're like, well, I don't have a dream job. I hate my job. I hate my boss. My coworkers are okay, but I'm not being paid enough, et cetera, et cetera. You need to act as if. The reason I say act as if is because that brings your vibration and your mindset and your state up to therefore attract that into your life. That's one step. That's the first main reason. Second main reason is feeling not worthy or not deserving. It's a common roadblock to manifesting. And this one sometimes takes more time to resolve, but I help students do this. And we call it money consciousness in spirituality world. Money consciousness is how you feel, how you think about money. For example, money doesn't grow on trees, or money is dirty, or rich people are not very nice people. Things like that, that makes up your money consciousness. And so I always tell my students, it's like examine those attitudes and those beliefs around money consciousness. So the first step is, of course, to be aware of it and say, I really need to question why I think the way I think about money and being successful and having money and having success. And then the second step is, once you do the analysis, you do certain other things to change it, which we can get into further, in which we reframe why you think about that. But keep in mind, most of those belief systems, in order to identify them, they come from generally childhood, or your parents were a certain way. And so it's things they spoke about while in the home or what have you. It could be a teacher in a classroom. It could be a mentor. It could be anybody that you looked up to. And so you took on the money consciousness. A lot of times it could just be behavior. It's things that are unspoken. You could watch your mom or your dad as they're counting the money and kind of frowning like, oh my gosh, yeah, we're not going to have enough to pay the bills. Things like that. That all leads into how you feel about your money or money consciousness. And of course, the last one, which is a big one, is fear, just overall fear. But let me break that down a little bit further, because fear has to do with generally fear of failure, which everyone kind of gets that one, but the other one, which most people don't get, is fear of success. So fear of failure is obvious. You're afraid, oh, okay, what if I go to manifest and I do all these steps that Hal's talking about and it still doesn't come to pass? What are other people going to think about me? What am I going to think about myself? I'm going to feel like a failure. I'm going to feel like a loser. Okay, that's fear of failure. Fear of success, which is sort of the cousin of fear of failure, has to do with what you think in terms of your self-talk about what if you actually do succeed. I had this one for the longest time. I had a mixture of both for the longest time, but mostly a fear of success, because I in the community I grew up in, there was a lot of rich people. Some were nice, some were not, but I always had this thing in my head that people are going to treat me differently if I'm successful. Rich people are not always the nicest people in the world. Maybe I'll change into that, and I don't want to change into that. See, there's all these reasons of fear of success. And so people do feel both of these things, and they're all roadblocks to manifesting. And there's ways of getting around fear as well that we could talk about a little bit later. All three of these roadblocks are mostly of the mind. Okay, we're both a thinking individual and a feeling individual. This is how we go about navigating our world. So the remedies to these three main fears and roadblocks and doubts that I'm talking about is to be aware of your thoughts and aware of your feelings, and especially those things surrounding money and success. You then do these steps to change what I call habitual thinking, because we do this habitual thinking a lot of times without even being aware of it consciously. If you start your day, if you're really very, very aware of your thinking, which I always stress to people to be very aware of your thinking, you'll notice yourself thinking the same thoughts. You get up in the morning, maybe you're ready to start your day, you're shaving, you're brushing your teeth, and you say, wow, okay, I got to go to my job. I'm only earning X amount, per year. I really need to be earning more, et cetera, et cetera. You see where this train of thought is going. That's habitual thinking. And of course, that's negative, and that's changing that vibration I'm talking about, which is then changing what's coming to you. Because instead of attracting and aligning with the energy, the worry, the fear, the doubts, they're all energies that actually push away what you're trying to attract. That's why it's called the law of attraction. You actually bring to you your creation. If you have fear, worry, doubt, negativity, it's like a blockage. It's like my hand. It's pushing against your creation. So on a conscious level, you may want something, on that energetic level, but you're just not quite ready for it on the unconscious or subconscious level. And the habitual thinking is oftentimes subconscious. So you have to bring it to the forefront. And so when those thoughts, those feelings are in that low vibe, as I said, it repels your manifestation. So the cure is to raise your vibration. And what's behind that is your thoughts and your feelings, being aware of that. Two practical things I can give you right now that will help change that vibration and raise that vibration I'm talking about is to practice gratitude and abundance mentality. So abundance mentality, it's very simple steps. You can take out a piece of paper like this here, and you can write down, all the good stuff and all the bad stuff in your life in 2 columns. And what you'll find is if you start writing down more and more things in the good side, you'll find that the bad side is much, much, much less if you do this daily, if you're really honest with yourself. And what you'll see is that there's more and more things that you can be grateful for during your day. And you'll soon find out that that gratitude column, it far outweighs anything that's coming up on the negativity side. That's one way of practicing abundance. The other part of it is when you're practicing this gratitude, the feelings of abundance grow more and more and more. And so within a short period of time, you'll find that it becomes easier and easier and easier because, again, so you're switching that mentality to constantly focusing and thinking about all the things you don't have, and instead you shift over to being grateful and feeling abundant and focusing on those things that you do want. You see, it's a total shift in mindset. Most of us, myself included, I've been guilty of this, will tend to focus on the things we don't have and complain about them and talk to them about friends and family, which means it builds it. So you practice these principles for enough years like I have, and you'll become a very powerful manifester. It'll just start to become habit. Habits take generally 14 to 20 days or so to change, and you're essentially changing your thinking. You're changing your focus in life. Give you some examples. By using manifesting, I was able to let go of a lot of different things. I've been in toxic relationships. I manifested going from being what I would call a worker bee to being completely self-employed, which is a dream thing that I wanted to have happen. I worked with a lot of people that supported me versus people that kind of kept me in a certain space. The expression, you're known by the company you keep, is very valid. I was earning what I needed to as well, so that was great. I wanted that level of refinement, and I was able to work from home with a very short commute time. So I was really enjoying what I was doing, and my life really dramatically changed when I started practicing these principles, and I haven't looked back ever since. So let's get into the 5 steps. The 5 steps that I was given, again, as a codex means a recipe or a code book. So I call it the codex, or you can call it recipe if you want. But there's 5 steps that they've boiled. When I say they, my guidance or my higher self boiled it down to. The 5 steps, let's get into these. The first one being choice. And I'm going to discuss these a little bit more detail as soon as I go through these. Second one is desire, and you may want to write these down. The third one is intention, which also includes attention, and there's a difference between those two, but intention and attention. The fourth one is passion, and the fifth one is action. So let me define these a little bit further, since that can sometimes get confusing. So the first one being choice. So you have to make a solid, focused, consistent choice. Choice versus, say, a decision. A decision is a more final choice. In other words, you can go through all these different choices. Should I do A, B, or C? And then you boil it down to the final decision of what you want to do. That's choice. And it sounds simplistic. I dig into this a bit more in my master classes with my students. But you really do have to make a solid choice that you stick with and that you focus on. The second one is building up your desires, because desires is an energetic, magnetic thing. The law of attraction is magnetic. So you have to have excitement. You have to have something that makes your heart flutter and go pitter-patter, so to speak. You have to do things that make your heart sing. That's desire, okay? And that's the second step, because you make the choice. If you have no passion, if you're like, oh yeah, I'd like to start my own home business, and you have that kind of tone of voice and that thing in you that's kind of matter of fact about it and blah, that's not desire. Desire is building excitement and feel, I want to start a home-based business so I can be my own boss. See, that's desire. The next one you want is, the third one is intention and attention. So attention is what you focus on. Intention is what you focus through. Attention is more broad. Intention is more focused. But it's another word for saying focused. It also has to do with anything that you create in your life, whether it be on your job, getting a new car, creating and manifesting a new dating relationship. Anything that you do has to do with your intention behind it. Majority of people don't know their intention. They're not real concentrated with their intention. That's why focus, when you look at it, it's a very narrow energy, not blinders. You don't want to have blinders on, but you want to have intention. You want to have focus towards your creation. I always suggest people write it down. That's the easiest way to get it out of the head and put it onto a piece of paper so you can focus on it. And what you'll wind up doing on your piece of paper is you'll put down a list of different items that you have an intention for. In the corporate world, they call it corporate vision, but it's intention. And you'll notice as maybe a week goes by and you read it over again, you're like, yeah, I really don't want that. And you scratch that out, but I do want this, and you add another one, see? So intention, it's a very deliberate thing. It's a thing where it could literally be a checklist. Anything I've ever done with intention, from creating a new car to creating a new contract work that I wanted to do, etc. I put in all the elements of what I wanted in that creation, and 90% of them came true. So intention is very, very important. The fourth one is passion. Passion is different than desire. Desire is more thinking, feeling as well, but more thinking. It's more simplistic. Passion is all encompassing. And you know this in your heart of hearts, and I'm using the word heart for a reason. Passion is much more heart-centered. It's more feelings, sensing, and there is emotions, but it's usually just joy and happiness and that making your heart flutter. You've met people who have passion. Every one of you has. And you look at them and you're like, wow, they really like what they're doing. That's passion, okay? People who truly, and you can tell whether they're BSing or not, but people who truly enjoy what they're doing have enormous passion. And that's why they call it, for example, the passions of the Christ. Not to get religious, but that's an energy, okay? So those first four, those are mostly in the body, mostly mental, some feeling, some heart, and they're energetic. But taking action is usually the step that a lot of people don't take, or they'll take action without doing the other steps. Action, when you look at creating and the law of attraction, think about a divider right here. One side is the immaterial world, meaning thinking in the ethers, right? It's an idea. Those first four that I mentioned are mostly mental and in your head. Once you take action, it moves the creation over into this material world that we can all touch and feel, and it moves it through the actions. And you may take an action, it also gives you feedback, because you're able to see, okay, I'm going along a certain path in my creation, right? And then, I take an action, I got some feedback about that. Yeah, it's not quite the right direction. I want to go a little bit this way. So action helps steer your course of manifesting, literally. And so that's how it works. You put those 5 elements out. Life reflects back to you what you've been doing. You're allowed to then make another choice, see? And you go down that checklist again, the CDIPA. That's the abbreviations. And you make another choice, and then maybe you go in a different direction again. And that's the way manifesting works in very simple terms. There's a lot more to go into. Obviously, I do this in my training classes. And so I'd like to invite you to maybe a more direct one-on-one training with me. Basically, it would be a free introductory course. I would do like 30 minutes with you or so on Skype or Zoom, or we could just do it by phone. It doesn't have to be video or anything. I'm doing this mostly to introduce myself, a sort of a try it before you buy it approach. They're going to be free sessions for, again, the first 30 or 40 minutes or so. I'm going to work with you. I'm going to work with you to overcome your fears, your doubts, your worries. I'm going to help you create and design with very specific steps to give you to create and design that which you want in your life. And I'm going to give you, the confidence that you can be a manifesting master. That's really the purpose behind it. And it's a good introduction to what I do and what I teach with my students. So if you want to book a session to do that, all you have to do is go to www.soullearn and then /free call. So again, soullearn.com/free call. And I'll go ahead and see you on the call. If you have questions, of course, write them down before you get on the call. That goes to a Calendly, appointment setting application. You put in the date and time that you can attend. You hit confirm. You'll get an email confirmation as well that confirms that appointment, and then I'll see you on the call. Okay, I'm looking really forward to helping teach you how to design your own life and be a master manifester. You can do this. It's really not difficult, and I'd like to show you how. Okay, I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye for now.